Nobody has any tape.
Not a single person has tape.
You have an atomic bomb in your bag. If anybody's gonna have tape, it's you.
I have to do everything.
You are wasting a lot of time.
That's a really bad sign.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 has everything you Marvel people like. It's got jokes, it's got quips, it's got sexual innuendos, it's got colors, it's got setups for future movies, it's got snappy songs, it's got a million characters all being assholes to each other, it's got death fake-outs, it's got everything. Fortunately for me, it's also a great movie. The first thing you notice when you watch Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 in IMAX, like you should because it's a superhero movie in the summer movie season, is that it does change aspect ratios. It is partially filmed in IMAX, which is holla. Hang 10 YOLO. This means one of those things, right? There are a lot of beautiful, sweeping, colorful, vibrant shots in this movie. You know, Volume 2 really is a beautiful movie. There's no shitty, shaky cam, quick jump cut fight scenes because there really aren't any physical fight scenes. All the fighting is ship-to-ship combat or people shooting at each other. So there's generally... you don't have that problem. My only complaint about camera work would be like, you have such beautiful, gorgeous shots. Just don't be afraid to hold them a little bit longer. There's like a 3-second rule. It's like 1, 2, 3. We have to cut to something else. It's like they think that if they hold the shot, their audience is going to get bored or lose interest in something. It's like, no, you have a beautiful thing to look at. Let us appreciate it for a couple more seconds, alright? There's no harm in that. But that's not something negative in the movie. That's just me saying that's something the movie could do even better. On the whole, very good looking movie. Guardians 2 also has a friggin' kick-ass soundtrack. See, I just rewatched Guardians of the Galaxy 1 recently after having seen Volume 2, and I found it pretty boring, to be honest. The only song I can even remember is Hooked on a Feeling, whereas when I came out of Volume 2, I instantly looked up the awesome Mix Volume 2 thing on YouTube and have been playing nothing ever since. The soundtrack in Volume 2 is so much better than the first one. The movie does open with that amazing one shot of Baby Groot dancing to the music and he freeze frames for the logos, so it's entirely CGI, so it's not as impressive, but it's still fun to look at, and that's... snappy soundtrack, man. They also do something really cool where they incorporate the soundtrack into the plot. You know, when Kurt Russell's all like, Brandy, you're a fine girl. What a good wife you'd be. My love, my life, my lady is the sea. And he's explaining to Star-Lord how that works and how he abandoned his mom. Okay, so, spoilers. First of all, because you're going to see it anyway, and second of all, because it's the Sunday. So I waited a weekend so you can all see it, and because I want to talk about all the stuff at the end too, so spoilers. I also just loved Kurt Russell because he was amazing. This broke Marvel's shitty villain rule, just like Civil War broke Marvel's shitty soundtrack rule. And you can't say that because spoilers, but he's just so awesome and charismatic and fun to look at and fun to watch, and he was different, and his motivations were... somewhat understandable. You know, I do think he did really love Star-Lord's mom, which, by the way, at the beginning of the movie, in the flashback, super hot Star-Lord's mom. Way hotter than dying Charles Xavier with cancer in the first movie. Just amazing. That's the most tragic thing about cancer, is that the girls lose their hair. It's like, shit, man. And he was explaining with the Brandy, You're a Fine Girl song, whereas, like, I'm forsaking love because I have this other purpose. Like, he's giving up love to then, you know, spread himself, be throughout the galaxy. Kind of like the glory of God kind of thing. And I like that a lot. It's actually kind of selfless from his perspective, and it's kind of noble in a sick, twisted way. So it's understandable that he had to kill Meredith so that he wouldn't be tempted to keep coming back to Earth and then never leave and just live his life like, oh no, then I'm forsaking. Have you ever seen The Adjustment Bureau? Great movie. Very similar theme. Forsaking love for bigger, better things. So we understand that he had to kill her, but what makes zero friggin' sense is why he told Star-Lord that. All that's gonna do is piss him off. Like, seriously, just keep that a secret. Just say she died of cancer and I couldn't go back because I was off. That was dumb. That was like supposed to be surprise villain. Now we hate this guy, so that was stupid. But Kurt Russell, definitely far and away best Marvel villain since Loki. He even slipped the word fortuitous in there. Did you hear that? Like from the Hateful Eight, like this would be one fortuitous wagon. I'm gonna bring up the soundtrack again because it's used so well. Not only the songs they pick, but when they play them and how they cue up. You know, when all the gold people are warping in, it's all like wham, bam, Shang-a-lang in the sha-la-la-la-la. Not only are the songs themselves good, but they also fit into specific scenes in the movie very, very well. Particularly when Rocket and Yondu are going on their killing spree through that thing, and it's like, come a little bit closer, you're my kind of man, and that thing is just zipping around killing everybody. I am really liking this trend that's going through Hollywood right now of killing sprees going down to old-timey rock songs, and then Rocket's looking at the cameras and then shooting them through the doors, and he's laughing because he's a murderous bastard. Fantastic scene. This movie has a couple shots where somebody's it's particularly Yondu and Star-Lord, where they're like walking in slow motion, and they have this super badass red leather trench coat on. I'm like, dude, I want that coat. And there's like a song playing. I'm like, in any other movie this would be cheesy, but it's not. This is like, I'm just like, that's cool, and I want that coat. Somebody sell me that coat. I want to wear that coat in Fallout 4. Elder Maxon's battle coat? No, piss off. I want that red leather trench coat thing because it's so cool. So from the first one, I was already on board with Star-Lord, Rocket, and Groot, but Gamora and Drax really bothered me and pissed me off in the first one. So, remember in the first one where she's all like, "Aye, blah, 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 your pelvic sorcery," and she's got like this really thick accent, and she barely speaks English, and she's like, "I am tribal black lady playing an alien, like, generic, shitty character who, like, has a super low IQ. That was completely gone in this movie, and I'm so thankful for that because I can stand to listen to her now. Same thing with Drax. Drax in the first movie was this guy who just didn't understand idioms. That was basically his whole thing. But in the second movie, he does now, and he's just constantly laughing and throwing jokes and just being an asshole, like, really bluntly, and honestly straight to people's face, like the whole thing with Mantis where he's calling her disgusting, which was, I thought, pretty funny. But that's not what his character was in the first movie, so it's kind of inconsistent, but I don't care because it was better, so thank you. And then, of course, the show stealer, Baby Groot, is the most adorable thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Even after Drax accidentally smashes the music box and he's like banging at him like this and he's attacking the little tiny little alien things, and it's like, it was not looking at you funny. And after the Ravagers pour the beer on him, he's all walking in slow motion, he's all soaking wet, he's making the little squishy sounds because his shoes are soggy, it's like, quick, quick, quick. He's like, oh, Baby Groot, no. Baby Groot stole the entire movie, it was amazing. The movie also had a bunch of, like, tertiary characters that I did really like too. You know the whole thing with Mantis where they're on Ego's planet and the camera's all panning around them and it's like the, you know, the big sweeping shot moment and then she just gets nailed in the face with that meteorite thing. That was hilarious. I died. I lost it. And the other skinny kind of pinhead Ravager who helps out Yondu, that's actually the director's brother. That's Sean Gunn, if you didn't know. Thought he was great. Loved him. Especially Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester Stallone plays who he should play. He's like pirate scum. That's what he is best at. Something in the movie I wasn't really on board with was the whole Nebula Gamora thing. Like, conceptually, it's a perfectly fine subplot idea, but Nebula just kind of annoyed me and bothered me, and I didn't think she was a good character. There's also a joke with her that goes on way too long. You know, the fruit that's not ripe, and then she finally eats it, and she's like, it's not ripe. That was not funny. And that took, like, several scenes, but sidetrack problem. But so when she's talking about, like, oh, her and Gamora had this horrible childhood thing with Thanos, she's just telling it to Gamora. She's like, I lost my eye because of you, blah, 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 because of you. It's like, why are you telling her this? She was there. She knows. Who you're telling with this right now is the audience, and that's called exposition, and that's bad. So that arc really needed, like, a flashback scene of Thanos just, like, literally ripping the eye out of her head while he's, like, laughing his ass off and just being like, get really, really dark, so we're just like, oh man, what a prick. But I didn't really feel that because all they do is talk about it, so I don't think that hit as hard as it could have. There's also a couple times in the movie where it's like, we're not friends, we're family. I'm like, okay, easy there, Dominic Toretto. It's like Fast and Furious did it, Suicide Squad did it, and now Guardians Volume 2 did it. Everybody, stop it. Stop. The word family. I never want to hear it again. Also, at the end, the whole death fake-out thing with Star-Lord. So we spend like 5 minutes, all the characters going, where's Quill? Rocket, we're not leaving without Quill. And there's like all this sad music playing, and it's like he's going to sacrifice himself. It's like, we've seen footage of him on set with Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Holland filming Infinity War, so why would you try to make us think that he dies? It's Batman v Superman all over again, and every freaking Marvel movie does that. A day may come where a Marvel movie doesn't have a death fake out, and doesn't use its weird young people CGI thing, and it is not this day. I also didn't buy how all the Ravagers suddenly grew a conscience. Like, I'm okay with Yondu being like, I haven't done one thing right my whole life, boy, sacrificing himself. That was fine. But like all the other Ravagers coming to his funeral and being like, oh, I guess he didn't let us down after all. It's like, so they have this band of camaraderie now. Where the hell did this come from? Because Yondu's men were killing each other less than a half hour ago, blowing people out the airlock and waving, going, bye-bye. It's like, you guys are murderous asshole scum, and I don't buy that you have this code of honor, this code of ethics thing. So I thought that was a little far-fetched. Those are my problems with the movie. Really, they were on the smaller side, though. I think it's way better than the first one. I think it's way better than Doctor Strange. I think it's way better than Ant-Man. The soundtrack was kick-ass. Baby Groot was adorable, and I just wanted to curl up and fall asleep in Kurt Russell's beard. And I'm going to give Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 an 8.5 out of 10. You know me, I'm all about that DC. No one's more hesitant to praise Marvel than me, but I went out of my way to buy that poster. I got the other blue-purple one right over there. I'm gonna buy the CD the moment I can find it at Target, and I am absolutely 100% okay with this movie making $1 billion. I think it's way better than the other $2 billion movies we've had so far, which is Beauty and the Beast and Fate of the Furious. And the other thing is, I expected to come out of this movie going, this is not Logan, I want Logan. And don't get me wrong, it's not Logan, not even close. But it's different enough, and still good enough in its own different other category of, you know, snappy, cool fun, that I had plenty of fun with it. And I do want to go see it a third time, because I've seen it twice now, so there you go.